Hi students, this is A. Mandirik Marajes. In this video, we are going to discuss the topics like GFP, that is green fluorescent protein, and biofarming. Let us talk about GFP. What is called as GFP? It is a protein which is composed of 238 amino acids. So it is a protein which is composed of 238 amino acids. It is a short sequence of amino acid. Then it can exhibit bright green fluorescent light when it is exposed to blue to ultraviolet radiation, especially at the nanometer 395. So it can exhibit bright green fluorescent light when it is exposed to blue to ultraviolet radiation at the nanometer 395, especially at the nanometer 395. Then it was isolated from the animal. It was first isolated from the animal jellyfish. Isolated from the animal jellyfish called Aquaria victoria. Aquaria victoria. So it is a jellyfish. From this jellyfish only the GFP was first isolated. So it is a jellyfish. Then it was first isolated by or discovered by the scientist Osamu Shimamura. Osamu Shimamura. So this GFP was isolated by the scientist Osamu Shimamura from the jellyfish Aquaria victoria. Then he isolated calcium dependent bioluminescent protein. Osamu Shimamura isolated calcium dependent bioluminescent protein. Calcium dependent bioluminescent protein, and that protein was isolated from the organism jellyfish called Aquaria victoria. That is why that protein is named as aquarin, because that protein is isolated from the jellyfish Aquaria victoria. That is why they have named that protein as aquarin. What is called calcium dependent aquarin? That means when this calcium bind upon this aquarin, it can generate electronically excited products. Electronically excited products, and it undergoes radiationless energy. It undergoes radiationless energy and transfer into GFP. That radiation energy transfer into GFP fluorescent state. Fluorescent state. That radiation energy, radiationless energy transfer into GFP fluorescent state. When it is excited, when it is exhibited or exposed to ultraviolet radiation, it can emit the bright green fluorescent light, especially at the nanometer 509 nanometer. Don't confuse with this nanometer and this nanometer. This is the first GFP isolated from the jellyfish Aquaria victoria. This is a different modified GFP. This GFP is a modified GFP, genetically modified GFP. And in this case, it is isolated from the organism Aquaria victoria. So this GFP fluorescent state, when it is exposed to ultraviolet radiation, it can exhibit bright green fluorescent light in the nanometer 509. Then the Shimamura literature, the literature written by Shimamura, tell us some important points. They are, when this GFP proteins are exposed to sunlight, they look slightly green in color. They are exposed to sunlight, they look slightly green in color. when it is exposed to tungsten filament, this GFP is exposed to tungsten filament, it looks yellow in color. It exhibits yellow color light. When it is exposed to tungsten light, the GFP can exhibit yellow color light. When it is exposed to ultraviolet radiation, it can exhibit bright green fluorescent light. So when it is exposed to ultraviolet radiation, it can exhibit bright green fluorescent light. Then he was awarded with Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Osamu Sumamura was awarded with Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Then I am going to tell about the different types of modified fluorescent proteins. There are different types of modified fluorescent proteins are there, but I am going to tell you some of the important fluorescent proteins. They are blue fluorescent protein, then red fluorescent protein, cyan fluorescent protein, then yellow fluorescent protein. How can we make or how can we modify the fluorescent protein? We can make use the process called mutation. Otherwise, we can replace the normal sequence of amino acids with a different sequence of amino acids. For example, triosine, leucine, then alanine. So this is the normal sequence of amino acids. We can replace the alanine here, and that alanine is replaced with the triosine here. So we can replace or we can modify the sequence of the amino acid. With that process we can find modified fluorescent protein. Otherwise we can use the mutation process. Then blue fluorescent protein means it can emit blue color. Red means it can emit red color. Cyan means it is a variant form of green fluorescent protein. Cyan means it is a variant form of green fluorescent protein. Then yellow means it can emit yellow color. Then I am going to tell you the application of fluorescent proteins. Let us talk about the application of fluorescent protein. This fluorescent protein can be used to locate and identify the proteins in the plant cell. To identify location of proteins in plant cell. So proteins are the major important component in any kind of cell which can involve in many metabolisms. So by using fluorescent protein, we can locate the enzymes, where they are produced, when they are produced, in which condition, in which environmental conditions that enzymes are produced, when they are get reacted. Likewise, the regulatory proteins, where they are produced, when that regulatory proteins are produced, when that regulatory proteins get reacted, in which environmental condition. So by using this fluorescent protein, we can locate and we can identify the proteins in the plant cell. Then to identify the movement of protein in the plant cell. By using fluorescent protein, we can identify the movement of protein from one compartment to another compartment in plant cell. Then it can be used to monitor gene expression in living cell. So we can use the fluorescent protein as a reporter gene. For example, it is a plasmid. This plasmid get cleaved with the help of restriction endonuclease, and it get ligated with the gene of interest. So the gene of interest get ligated at the recognition site. Then we have to monitor the gene of interest, whether they get translated or not. So we have to monitor this target gene by using a reporter gene called fluorescent protein. So this is a fluorescent protein gene we are going to insert the fluorescent protein gene nearer to the gene of interest. Nearer to the gene of interest. Then this vector are introduced into the host cell and they get integrated with the plant genome and it has to express. So that vector undergoes a process called translation. So after the translation, the DNA get produced into a protein. So we are exposing that particular cell to an ultraviolet radiation. At that time, it emits the light, that fluorescent light. We can conclude the gene of interest get expressed. Because this fluorescent protein also, it is a gene, isn't it? So it can also translate into a protein and it can emit the fluorescent light. So we can use this fluorescent protein as a reporter gene. We can tag the fluorescent protein with the gene of interest. We can monitor the gene of interest with the help of the fluorescent protein. Then it is used in drug discovery. Then it can used as biosensor. In plant cell, these fluorescent proteins are used as biosensor to identify the changes or difference in enzyme activity, calcium, metals, and so on. So we can use the fluorescent protein as a biosensor in plant cell or in any kind of cell. Then it also used in the fields of biophysics, microbiology, and biotechnology. In recent years, these fluorescent proteins are used in cancer treatment. Then the fluorescent proteins are used to identify or observe the cell organelles in the cell by using fluorescent protein. So that's all about the fluorescent proteins. Then I'm going to tell you the bioforming. Let me explain bioforming. Bioforming is the protection and use of transgenic plants and animals genetically engineered to produce pharmaceutical substance for use in humans and animals. So bioforming means we are using transgenic plants and animals in order to produce pharmaceutical substance which are useful in humans and animals. That is why this technique is otherwise called as molecular farming or molecular farming. Then the therapeutic proteins includes human growth hormone, insulin, erythropoietin, antibodies, etc. that have been produced through bioforming. Actually, transgenic animals can produce many number of therapeutic substances. Here I have mentioned only the plants which can produce the therapeutic proteins. So these are all the substances which are produced by the plants, transgenic plants. Example, human growth hormone, insulin, erythropoietin. Erythropoietin is very important for the production of blood, RBC, that is red blood cells, which are present in kidney. Then antibodies. For example, if a person is deficiency with vitamin A, we don't need to have vitamin A tablet. We can simply consume the golden rice because it contains vitamin A, beta carotene. So we don't need to have tablets. Simply we can consume these food items. They can supply that proteins or that pharmaceutical substance to cure the disease. And that technique is called as biofarming. So that's all about today's video. If you have any doubt, please clarify with me. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you.